initiated yet. But for cadets, we're able to use a village over here next door, we call it. It's in the Bullock building with the law enforcement center. I'm sure you've seen that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's got a mock city in it. It's got jail cells with all different kinds of doors, so we can actually do cuffing procedures through the doors.
There was a little store and a lawyer's office I saw.
There's a grocery store in there, so our parole people can come over and use it, and search and do things. There's apartment buildings in there. But the coolest thing we got in there is that Virtua simulator.
Yeah, so we were able to, so folks that are watching this, we were able to do it again today and kind of debrief with Curtis, who's kind of our master trainer here. The Virtua is just amazing.
Yeah, it gives a real life communications aspect. Instead of me and you just role playing and doing things, the operator of the system can actually, depending on what you say, escalate the situation or de-escalate the situation to how you're responding. And even we try not to throw curveballs, but every once in a while we'll throw a little wrench in there and see how they respond. And it gives the cadets a controlled environment to practice your communication skills instead of getting to an institution.
The way we kind of we're describing it, it's kind of like being on the free throw line with 1 second left in the game and kind of the regional championship. You can't really practice that. You could run a bunch and, you can't bring up that adrenaline that high. But it's like bringing the adrenaline, all that stimulation up that high without any real negative consequences. Nobody gets shot. Nobody gets stabbed. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets taken to the ground. But all that stimulation, the crowd, the noise, the smells, everything's beside the smell, everything's there.
And you forget that your peers are behind you with that screen surrounding you, and you get involved in the situation. It's not like me and you are doing this and a bunch of our staff members are watching. It's like you get into the real situation. It's as real as we can possibly get to a real situation.
Yeah, it took me really just that first interchange or two, because I didn't know what to expect. But after you have a couple verbal interactions, you're in it and it's real.
Yeah,
I mean, at first you're just kind of like, okay, what's going to happen? You don't know. But after the first couple things, you're in it.
Yeah, you forget it's a video. I mean, it's like you're in it.
And I know limited things apply to our cadets, but some firearms, OC, cuffs, all kinds of other tools that have the infrared feedback. So those folks on the computer are getting that feedback. They're clicking from what they're hearing. So we've got some like automated feedback and then person-entered feedback that just calibrates that system to what you're actually doing.
And we also monitor heart rates.
Oh.
When we get up there, we have a heart rate band. We see what their heart rate is when they start, and when the situation starts getting amped up a little bit, how they may not show they escalate.
They didn't do that one for us. So
it shows you how you escalate. We have a little armband, and there's a TV monitor up on the side over there, and we can sit there and watch your heart rate and see if it's.
Yeah, there's a guy in couples counseling, John Gottman, that does that with couples and monitors their heart rate, because we know we intervene and we do really dumb things after we get too elevated.
Yeah, and sometimes you can say you weren't elevated, but
that doesn't lie.
The fact is right there that it did. You got you, and that's how we can tell people are getting into the training, and because it's really amping them up.
Yeah. So you've got the awesome Virtua. You've got big tactical control tactics rooms that are just padded from wall to wall with all kinds of analogs and dummies. Yep. You've got this kind of simulated city. What else is out here on the property?
One thing we've also introduced to the cadets is laptops. We virtually don't do any paper tests here anymore. Everything is a laptop. We use an LMS system through Richland College, and we take all the tests, all the notes, all the curriculum. There's no binders, 3-ring binders anymore you got to carry around. It's on a flash drive for you. You can download it, keep it, and that's what we send home with them for their curriculum instead of 2 big 3-ring binders.
So if they have a couple hours of in-classroom instruction about whatever, learning a policy, procedure, they do some other stuff, they can go back at night with that flash drive or with that laptop and study?
Both.
Okay.
They can use the flash drive at home because we don't allow them to take the
laptops
laptops
home on the weekends and stuff.
Yeah, if they choose to, or later on in their career. At first we all don't think we need to review things, but then we get in spots where we need to review things or whatever. But yeah, I've seen them over there in the dorms. They'll hook them up to the TVs, and they'll have study groups, and they're studying.
Yeah,
together.
They did actually. We asked the guys, "Hey, what are you doing on your downtime?" And obviously playing some cards, some games, watching TV. But a lot of them like, "Yeah, we spend a lot of time studying because we don't want to do this academy twice. We want to do well. We want to get through."
Yeah,
here.
we've stressed to them the importance of doing well in the academy, just because of the way the law enforcement realm's gone lately. You want to make sure you know your policy procedure, and you make this will come back if you're ever taken to court. These records of your academy can be sent to court for you.
Yeah, anything you do in government life
Yes.
is sort of FOIA-able.
Yes,
That's
yes,
the
yes.
joke. But it's also nice because they've got kind of a less distractive environment to do this. I mean, I know some of the barriers that keep people from going to the academy. Obviously, everybody's worried about being in a prison until you're there and you realize, okay, it's really not what I thought it was going to be. It's better. It's easier. We have tools. But then, you go home to family, kids, other things. Like, it's really hard to get study time and to stay focused.
Yes.
So you're here. You don't have much else to do. You can get a good hour or two a night of studying for something until you nail that test.
Yes, and we give extra things to them if they need extra help. Some of them don't understand the actual instruction. The computer gives them a chance to do hands-on and look at it again. And just hearing it sometimes isn't enough, and you can't follow in your book, so they can go back at night and actually visually see it, and they can comprehend it better.
So let's say they take a test and they score like a 65%, doing better. They need to get a 90 or 85% or something to whatever that cutoff is. They're able to go back and that computer says, hey, you missed these. Here's the explanation. Or how's that work?
It don't go that far. We kind of keep the test under wraps so the tests don't get out from class to class. You take the test.
Sure.
It's locked for everybody but us to review. It does let them know what they've missed, numbers, wise and everything, but it don't give them the question and this was the answer you chose. This was the correct answer. It just lets them know what they missed.
That makes sense.
Just for integrity of the test, so we don't have to, redo them all the time. So, but no, they, their tests are pretty isolated. It's curriculum based. It's the only thing that's all over everything is the final. We take that from a piece from each week, but generally it's that week's study. So they only have to study
really hone in on one topic area.
Yes, whether it be restraints or searches or defensive tactics or use of force or policy and procedure, standards of conduct, things like that. Okay. We try to keep everything grouped together so it's not a hodgepodge of everything coming together.
That makes sense. Just get one thing right, move on, and that final test has a flavor of all of it.
Right.
Yeah. And we got to see the dorm rooms. Actually pretty nice. Didn't smell. We kind of expected like an old dirty sock smell. Pretty clean. All the bunks, everything's well made. The folks take care of the rooms pretty nicely. They've got really nice kind of common areas and lobbies that they can go out, watch TV, throw some cards, some beautiful scenery out the window. They've got some snack machines and other things after chow is served. So really, how's that compared to the the '90s academy you went through?
Well, this is a unique place. It's not state food. It's not corrections food. It's actually Richland. We have a contract with them. Then Richland helps us by providing our meals for us. So it's a culinary arts division in their college cooks for us. It's really, I haven't heard a complaint yet. We'll put it that way. I'm kind of nervous when they go back to the facility and what they're going to think of us, that we lied to them or something, and we made it look like it was all
tons of drink options from juices, coffees, teas, milk.
Yeah, yep. They got several varieties. It's limited to only during lunch. They don't leave it out all night, just of course because of the cost effectiveness. But it's offered to them. So
yeah, and about the only thing that's really taken away from them is cell phones during the day. So which is going to be exactly how it is at an institution. So those 8 to 4 hours, you don't have it. Before work, after work, it's yours. You can reach out, stay connected with your family, let them know how it's going, visit them. And then you come home on the weekend, spend some good quality time, go back to your institution Monday morning early, and then they bus you up here in time to get here by when on Monday?
Usually 11:30 is the latest.
Okay, so it's not terribly earlier because we do have,
3.5, 4
you could have an academy from, we had some folks from Sheridan, we had some folks from Shawnee, total different corners of the state.
Right.
So it gives them both enough time to get here to where it's not totally disruptive.
Yeah, and one thing we want to stress in this academy is we always stress that corrections is a family. Well, we got to remember that everybody has a family other than us.
Yeah.
So having the phones at night, being able to reach out to their family and connect, is I feel a bigger part, less anxiety that they'll have here through the week. We get a little encouragement, get this, and there's some bad news that comes every once in a while, but we deal with it and we help them. I just feel that's. A lot of people don't like it, but I feel that's a good part.
Yeah, maybe one of those things that we looked at, well, hey, I went through it that way. We need to haze this group and something your folks looked at and said, maybe that's just unnecessary.
Yeah, it started a few years ago before a lot of us even got here. But I think it's a good thing to do to ease the anxiety and keep them connected to their family and let the family know they're okay, because it's not just them that, their family's worrying about them. So it's just to help them get through. It's, we preach family all the time.
It's family, I understand, from like the graduation side, are pretty involved in that ceremony.
Yes.
So when your cadet is ready to graduate and be a CO, what do the family members see? What's their participation?
Well, on the Friday morning of graduation at 8:00, we let the families come on ground, sometimes a little earlier, because they get here earlier. But we let them take a full tour of this place. We let them see the city. We let them see the dorms. We let them see the auditorium. We just let them, and we don't do a tour. It's the cadet's responsibility.
Kind of free reign.
Yeah, to do a tour. Take your family around, show them what you've been doing. I mean, you can FaceTime, you can take pictures, whatever, but it's just not, you don't understand until you see it.
I think it's really a pride. Hey, this is where we've been training all week. This is where we've been,
And then something I've tried doing with the past couple classes is a pinning of the badge. The cadets always pin their badges on themselves. Well, I like to see that family come down, because they're just as much as a part of this as the cadet is, and they're going to be just as much a part as their career, because they're going to have to support them.
Yeah.
And to have that connection of them actually pinning that badge on them for the first time, I mean, it seems like a very positive aspect.
That is kind of neat, and for multi-generational correctional families, passing that down. I know. So, but are just bestowing that honor, upon your loved one, so they're a part of it.
And we've kind of always let corrections do it if they've requested, but, and then it's kind of like, well, why couldn't I do that? Well, why couldn't you? So, we just kind of, it may add 5 or 10 minutes with the chaos, everybody coming down.
Yeah.
But, we get it wrangled in pretty quick, and we get done. It's at the end of our graduation, so everybody's ready to get out of there anyway. So we finish up pretty quick after.
So they get a tour, we get graduation, kind of a family pinning ceremony. I'm sure tons of pictures. Any other speakers, anybody there, anybody set up on graduation day for resources or anything? How are other departments within our?
Yes, during the actual tour of the facility, we usually do from about 8 to 9:30. We give them kind of free rein to run around, and then at 9:30 we have staff wellness.
Okay.
Our staff wellness response team come in, and we have all the families are welcome to attend. Some choose not to. Many choose. Our auditorium sometimes isn't big enough to hold them all, but we let them sit in there with the staff resource team to explain some obstacles that their loved one may face, as many we've seen with many people in corrections, or we may have faced in corrections. And to let them know there's resources out there to help them to get through it. Don't just give up on them. This is a tough job. This is a negative environment, and there's resources to help them. We've never done that before in corrections in the past.
No, I mean, we first never really had resources. We didn't necessarily have a formal mechanism to respond, and then we didn't think, hey, this is great to plug it in right from day one.
Me personally, I'm not the same man I was, 22 years ago when I hired in. I've changed significantly.
It's hard to think you've been doing this for 22 years. I've known you since you were, since you could, shooting hoops at the park. Yeah. Like, it's hard to think that it's been that long, but I guess it has.
I don't blink.
Yeah, it goes by pretty quickly.
I'm encouraged by what I see in the department. We're going through a rough time, but the stuff coming about within the department, what we're doing for staff, sometimes we don't, maybe necessarily do enough for staff, but
I don't know that you could do too much for staff.
We're trying, because I've seen people struggle. I've seen some demons in some people through their time in corrections, and I don't know if it was just corrections that did it or if it was a combination of things. But,
sure.
But we got with the staff wellness team and resources and somebody just to talk to. Sometimes that's all you need, because we all want to be big and tough, and we don't want to talk to anybody. But sometimes you just need somebody to talk to.
I can't tell you how many through this job, and then through like working with veterans, so similar kinds of stressors, I talk to so long after the fact that they wish they would have found a way to connect to those services earlier, to where they didn't have to pay all those consequences of potentially losing a job, financial loss of a relationship or a partner, physical health that suffered as a result of all that. So being able to kind of plug them into services and normalize that not just this job, any job could be difficult.
Yes.
So we have particular stressors in this environment. And like you mentioned, it's not a good time. We're sort of law enforcement. We're sort of public safety. We're sort of both. We're in this weird.
Yeah, we're kind of caught.
And not everybody really understands prisoners or prison officers and stuff, because we're not out on the streets like you're police officers. We don't see us on the interstate parked in a turnaround zone, or hiding in a bank parking lot trying to give a speeding ticket. We're not at, show and tell days at grade schools handing out suckers and badge stickers. Correctional officers are a little bit different.
They are. We're the forgotten. Nobody knows we're behind the gates. We go to work, we do our time behind the gate, and we go home.
Yeah, the police officers and the other part of the criminal justice system has convicted these folks of a felony, put them behind. They forget about them, and they forget about the people who take care of them.
And being over here with this law enforcement side right next to us has brought them an appreciation for us, as well as an appreciation for us to them. We work so well together in doing things. Actually, it's kind of neat. They've stolen some ideas from us to use in their academies. And we've seen some stuff, and we're like, hey, you know what? That might not be a bad thing to try. Just a different rotation of your cuffing things or your searches or just stuff they try, because the principles are all there.
Yeah,
but the rules are just a little different.
That makes good sense, and I think that I don't want to speak to kind of like the benefactors who created this campus, but my guess is that was probably part of the thing to increase that collegiality and kind of the best idea sharing with the best technology we can give them. Only good stuff can come out of that.
Yeah. I mean, right now there's almost 250 recruits or cadets on this grounds right now between this little area with all these buildings. And we're all working together and running a law enforcement academy, a law enforcement corrections academy, and our corrections academy.
And they also have some fire and EMT stuff on that back corner,
yes,
right?
They have the fire tower over there for fire training. They have a grain bin, hence the grain bin building. Inside there, they actually have a grain bin for teaching rescues, things of that.
Especially for like rural firefighters.
Yes,
and EMT.
Yes. I mean, the opportunities on these grounds have helped this area.
They've thought of almost everything.
Yeah, they have.
So, but if you had a wish list of, one thing you could add here, what would it be?
Be able to get more people through here.
More people.
Yeah, more people. To
basically clone this and make another one.
Yes, this is more than we could ever have hoped for.
Yeah.
Compared to where we were 6 months ago. And it's just wish we could get more through, just to help the facilities, just to, ease the burden on everybody, because everybody's going through it now, but you just can't hire enough people.
Yeah, we're in a kind of a weird stage where a lot of people are retiring. New positions have been created, so there's more need, and there's been vacant positions, and kind of the labor force is sort of weird right now in every sector. Mm-hmm. I don't know of any, whether you're food service, a teacher, in a medical field, in law enforcement, I don't know anything that's thick.
Yeah, no.
I don't know where all the people are, but nothing's fully staffed.
Yeah, you always see everybody's looking for help and hurting, whether it's medical or law enforcement or teaching, but there's just no applicants. I mean, there is, but you just can't backfill what we've already lost.
Yeah, we're not filling in at the same rate. But hopefully folks that listen on this podcast and view everything will see that, this stuff is really at the cutting edge. There's not a whole lot to be anxious about crossing that threshold. That's why we can't get a lot of mental health folks in prisons, because they've never had that experience, and their own anxiety gets ahead of them. They don't realize it's actually a pretty good environment to work in.
It's the unknown.
Yeah,
it's the concept how they perceive movies, how they see it on TV.
It's not the Green Mile.
No, it's not. Things have changed. Granted, we have some very old facilities that might put you back in them times.
A few of them will look like that. Yeah.
But no, it's a unique job. It is hard. I mean, it's very demanding on your mental stress and your home life. I've always stressed that make your quality over quantity time at home. What little time you do have at home, make it worth it.
Yeah. We had some good questions from some cadets earlier talking about that, how to handle and prevent burnout from doing doubles, and how to learn how to stay supported, because things are going to change. With not just with this job, any job, stage of life, you've got those, but then you've got this job kind of layered on top of it. So making sure you're keeping up with family and friends, keeping those healthy habits. You're going to be tired, but your little kid doesn't know that, and they still want dad to come shoot hoops with them, mm-hmm. or do whatever, or be excited. So, but a lot of people do it well. I mean, sometimes we talk on the negative side too much, but I know a lot of people in corrections that do it well, and they do it right, and they do it right every day, and they retire. They're financially fairly well off, got a pretty stable retirement. They lived a happy life. And so there's a lot of hope to do it right.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I never dreamt of being a correctional officer. Never thought I'd stay in corrections. It was a stepping stone to do something else. look at me now. I mean, I went through all the ranks and corrections, and now I'm sitting here at the academy. Training has always been a huge part of my career, and I've always loved it. Just thankful I've been afforded the opportunity to assist everybody in it now and try to make things better, because I've done the training in the facilities. I've seen the needs and the lacks and the things in the facilities. Not that others.
You've been a training lieutenant at a couple sites, right?
Just one.
I thought you were two.
One. Yeah, just one site. So, but I've been in training for many years.
Yeah, so. And hopefully this pushes that emphasis on our folks in corrections, whether you're day one or year 25, that you're a constant student of this field. Our people change, our technology and how we better intervene with them changes, and so there's always something to learn.
Yeah, the biggest struggle we have here is, the 13,000 employees we have out there working in the facilities, trying to keep them trained up, trying to keep everything
from a distance.
Yes,
too.
From a distance, and trying to, we have regional people now that go out and go around. We've hired a staff development specialist at the facilities now to start doing this. We're actually, instead of everybody coming to Springfield and driving 3 or 4 hours to get a half a day training, to get a certification in, some course or something, they're doing it at the facility.
And no doubt COVID helped and hurt some of those things. It just forced us to do things more quickly.
Yep.
And then other things, it forced us to do it more quickly.
Yeah, it did. It hurt us in a lot of ways, but it also pushed us forward in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I just, the opportunities here at this academy, I just wish we could offer it to everybody.
I would love to be able to write a grant to get a trailer for Virtuos to send out to facilities, to do research and trainings and, to infuse with the technology, the enthusiasm of being here at Decatur. That each facility could use a little of that,
And there's some stuff in the works that we've thought about for in-service training, annual cycle trainings at facilities to possibly to get in there to make it as close to this as you can get. Maybe not the Virtua, because I don't think we can afford that, but just other things, that we've learned here, and maybe we can do at other facilities just to make that so you're not in the repetition of the same training every year. That's my goal, is not to have the same training every year. 10 years later, you're doing the same training you did 10 years before.
So when it's your turn for annual cycle training, you go in there and it's exciting, and you see something that's entertaining, you learn something new, maybe start an interesting discussion, and you handle a situation a little differently at your facility.
Yeah, I mean, just something along that lines. And, it's, with everything changing now, the court rulings coming down and the laws being made, everything's changing so fast.
We don't get to stay the same.
And to disseminate that information effectively is very hard to 27 different facilities, over 13,000 staff. I mean, it's very hard to do. And a lot of times our annual cycle training is the only way to do that.
The only official way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, staffing numbers, we're hurting at this academy just as bad as everybody else is for staffing numbers. And for us to manage an academy plus the facilities, and, it's a huge burden, and we're trying to keep up on it. We're trying really hard.
Yeah. And people don't realize we can't really shut down operations to just train. We've got to do these things while things are flowing and rolling.
Yes. We have to do it all at the same time. I mean,
people need to eat. They need their health care. They need their mental health care. They need attention from all these other professional services. They have education. We don't get to stop doing those things. There's a lot of tasks that have to be done. Training is phenomenal, but the ship's still rolling in the ocean while we're training.
And part of training is helping staff to understand why something happened. For years in corrections, I was always told, because that's what you're told to do. I always felt like that 2-year-old. Why?
Because I said so.
But, if they understand that this came from a court ruling, or this came from a change in the laws, I mean, we try to put that stuff out so everybody knows that this is why this happened. So they're not, people get so centered on and in their own box that it's just corrections. Well, it's not just corrections. We have federal laws we have to follow. We have, Illinois Constitution we have to follow. We have, state rulings in courts we have to follow. And that's just part of the game. I mean, it's, we have to do it, but to know why we have to do it, it's perceived a lot better.
So the transparency is helping.
Yes, very much.
So you get a lot of, And so, that would certainly be something maybe we could all improve on, thinking about how we could be transparent. And for me, it's always interesting to kind of know the history of something, so I can kind of track it and all those changes and conceptualize how it works within the system.
Mm-hmm. And, and everybody always says we're a reactive agency. Well, sometimes in law enforcement realm, you don't have a choice but to be reactive to a lot of stuff. But with a lot of stuff, we are proactive.
I do feel this at this academy, to where, to the extent you can be, sort of the virtual and some other things, being as proactive as possible to where, maybe we can't get you the exact experience of the thing you're going to see because who could predict that, but we're going to get as close as possible.
Yeah. It's the preparation that from the cadets, now COs that I've talked to in the facilities, a few of them, they weren't nervous. They were nervous, but not scared.
Excited.
They were comfortable to go in. It wasn't a bad thing. They felt like they were comfortable in their abilities of what to do. A lot of times it was just, a lot of people felt like, here's your keys, go.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been that way for many years. But I think this place here just puts, an extra padding on that to let them know that, hey, this is, you do what you're trained to do. You'll adapt. You'll evolve. Every facility's different. Every person's different. No, nothing's the same. But now you got the tools to build on things to make it work. And I tell the cadets all the time, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things wrong. You're going to sign the wrong call pass. You're going to do this or something. But that's stuff you learn from. That's stuff you catch up on. In the academy, that's what this is for. We try to do all those. We make them do report writing. We make them do search slips. We make them write tickets. We're adamant about trying to do a lot of their day-to-day stuff and let them make the mistakes here and learn from it.
Low stakes. Before they get to
the
but at the end of the day, like, you can't implant 5 or 10 years of experience in somebody in 2 months or 6 months. But
no, you
get as much of a baseline to where the learning can happen in a safe way at the facilities.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're so short-staffed, a lot of these guys are getting thrown as soon as they're off probation status. They're on their own. It's no working with a seasoned veteran officer or sergeant or lieutenant very long anymore. It's, a lot of the officers, we have 6-month COs training brand new cadets coming in from the academy.
So you're going to be expected to get out there, get on the floor, hit the ground running more quickly.
And it's basically just like we're throwing you the keys and telling you to go.
Yeah.
But while we have them here, we're trying to build the atmosphere and build the confidence that they can go in and do the job. Not that they're 100% ready. We tell them, you're not 100% ready. You got to learn. You got to listen. You got to watch. You got to observe. And you will gain your own way. But we've given you enough tools to, to finish that road. We paved it halfway, now finish it.
There you go. And I'm just thinking, hey, this is a lifetime learning. You're a student.
Oh,
you're going to come. You leave here and you're going to know how to learn.
Oh, yeah.
It's not done.
And we all learn every day. There's things in prisons change every day. Them guys have nothing to do in there but think of ways to get stuff in.
They're always going to be a step ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
And we just got to evolve. We can't just stay stagnant. We got to evolve.
And so probably a lot of your job and Curtis's job and other folks here at the academy, probably doing a lot of reading.
Oh yes, a lot of research, a lot of
policy, connecting with other departments, other states.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I don't want it to be, this was a Steve Ryan or Curtis Marshall thought up plan. I want to have actual backing from other states, institutes, colleges, whatever. I want to have actual backing on training. And the department's done very good lately of letting us reach out to other departments, to, the Moss group's helping us out with a lot of stuff, things of that nature. We've reached out to other entities to come in and help us.
So just taking something and just adapting it to our specific culture, but it's not totally new.
Right. Yeah. But it's not that, Steve Ryan made this up and this is the way it's going to be.
That's not too safe. You just, but like how often would you necessarily be on a call with somebody, say from Missouri or Ohio or Michigan, reaching out, or like you said, like today, like with some of the local police agencies that are using
it's weekly, if not sometimes daily. I mean, it's a lot. We try to reach out a lot. I found out real quick I need glasses as much as I still have a computer now. So.
Yeah. So, and then on your end, do you have to interact with the public a lot? Or are you mostly with our cadets and then, some with the exec staff?
The public, not so much. I mean, if somebody comes on grounds during family day, on graduation day, we get out and we interact and we do things. We try to be as much as we can, but it's just, you don't see the public much in this job. It's, I deal with, our neighbors over here and our partners. I deal with, my staff and the cadets and the exec staff. I mean, it's kind of just you're in your box. It's kind of like at a facility. This is, it's not a facility, but it's who's there is there. Nobody comes in just because they want to come in.
How many staff do you have roughly on grounds here at Decatur? Because I know you probably get people temporarily assigned, but on average, how many folks you have here who are working not in cadet status?
Counting the law enforcement side or just our side?
Just a DOC side.
Counting all clerical and everything, it's close to 20.
20.
Yeah, we're short some positions, but we bring some of our SDSs from the facilities down to fill that, but it's roughly 20. So
there's a lot going on here for 20 people. I'll tell you, like they do some good work, and they're busy because there's a lot of different stations and moving parts. But you see, like when it's time, those guys are moving from one place to another, and it seems to be a pretty well-oiled machine so far.
Oh, it is. The staff here are amazing. We're short staffed. They step up. They do what they got to do to get it done. They rarely complain. I'm not saying they don't, but they rarely complain, and it makes my job so much easier knowing I don't have to, because I don't like micromanaging.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do it with these guys. I don't have to. They're awesome staff. They're amazing. And that's all the way from our clerical staff to our trainers, our SDS, staff development specialists. I mean, it's just, I couldn't ask for better. So I couldn't.
Well, good. Any other kind of final thoughts or anything to share with our huge audience we might have listening?
No, I'm just I'm thankful you guys came over and did this and took an interest, and I'm glad you guys got to talk to some cadets and some of us. And like I said, we're transparent. You ever got any questions or anything, just reach out.
I love it. We've been here a couple times now, and each time is very hospitable. It's a cool environment. The morale is high. It's exciting. So we want to kind of get that out and share with everybody. And again, if anybody listening get a chance to, if there's a class offered here or a meeting or whatever it might be, don't be hesitant. Try to go.
Yes.
Come here, check this place out.
Yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate we haven't evolved yet to get it out to the rest of the facilities to bring them down here and stuff. That's a lot of work. That's a big. We have to work also alongside them on scheduling and stuff. And I just don't think everybody thought how big this would actually be. 250 recruits and cadets on grounds right now in this little area.
They have to eat and they have to sleep.
And they have to train.
Yeah.
And there's only limited numbers. That's why I said I wish it was just a little bigger here. But you know what? This is awesome. We couldn't ask for anything better right now.
Certainly is state of the art. And you're no better than how you train. And if we're training near the top echelon, then we're going to have some pretty good officers coming out of here and hopefully turn it into sergeants, turn it into lieutenants.
Yes.
Turn it into majors.
They're our future.
They are.
I sat in there 22 years ago, scared to death. Never been in a prison in my life. I was scared to death. I know how they feel, and to see some of them, there's leaders in there. There's future leaders in there. I know there is. I see it in them. They do it here.
So you feel like you can walk away when you get to retire in however many years you got left? Several. I want to ask you, but I feel like you'll be leaving corrections in a better situation than what you found it.
I hope. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees. Everything changes. There could be another COVID situation. There could be. Seriously, you just never know. We got 2 years behind on COVID. This academy, before I got here, was moving in a very positive light, and then COVID hit, and everything kind of got put on hold and fell backwards a little bit. And we're just trying to rebuild from that. And coming here with a breath of fresh air gave us the opportunity to keep energized to do it too. I feel it gave us new life. Well,
no pressure, but you get the opportunity to kind of set the tone and leave a legacy here, being in your position. So we look forward to seeing what Stephen Ryan and his crew of great men and women here are going to do in the future. So thanks for stopping by, Steve.
Hey, thank you.
All right.